Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about snake plant propagation, and I'm going to show you how you can propagate a snake plant. There are two main ways in which you can propagate a snake plant. You can propagate a snake plant by division and by means of a cutting. There are disadvantages and advantages of propagating by cutting compared to by division. In general, propagating by division is far easier than propagating by cutting. But let me explain what I mean by propagating by division. So, if we look at our snake plant here, you can see that the snake plant is not just, it doesn't have just one main branch, it has several branches, right? And you can see here, you can see a shoot coming, right? Can you see that shoot? And there's a couple of shoots actually, I can see another one. Okay, so if I want to propagate it by division, what I can do, to propagate a snake plant by division, we can just take one of the shoots inside this snake plant. I can see two. I'm not sure you can see that as well. There's two. So I would have to unpot this plant. I would take a scissor and divide the root ball so I can take away that shoot as a separate plant. It's really important when I do that the shoot itself will be with the roots, with some roots. Then I stick it into a pot and it will basically just be another independent snake plant, no problems whatsoever. On the other hand, if I want to take a cutting, it's also a simple process, probably less messy than propagating by division. So I take one of these leaves, I can pick one, and I'll be picking one very soon, and I will use a scissor, cut it, divide it in maybe, depending on the length of the leaf, I'll probably divide it in 3 or 4, and then stick into a pot, which I have here already. I have a pot, which I'll show you later. Yeah. So there are two main differences between these methods, right? Okay, if you propagate it by division, it's far quicker method than propagating by cutting, okay? Another issue is that if you look at this snake plant, you can see a variegation. The yellow variegation is something that if I propagate the snake plant by division, I'll be able to keep that characteristic of the plant. I'll be able to preserve the yellow variegation. But if I propagate it by a cutting, it will not keep that. So I'm going to give you an example of a previous propagation I've done in the past. So this one, it was probably a year ago, or just over a year ago. And you can see, this was taken by cutting, okay? So more than one cutting. As you can tell, it doesn't have any yellow variegation. But to be honest, if you ask me, I think it's quite nice anyway. It's a nice plant, it looks nice and healthy. It took a really long time to root, yeah, so that's the other thing about propagating by cutting. It takes longer, so you have to be patient in this. So I'm going to be taking a cutting very soon, and there's two things I can do, right? I can take the cutting and stick it into soil straight away, or I can take the cutting and stick it into a bowl of water or something. I'm going to use the soil. I'm going to stick it straight to the soil because this kind of reduces all the complexity later on, or the risk later on of transferring a cutting from water into soil. Another disadvantage of doing a cutting, growing a cutting in water, is that you have to remember to always switch the water every week or so. I don't really have time to, I don't want to take that risk, because if I forget, then the cutting will die. It might look like it's an easier option, but I don't think it is. You'll be having close to 100% success if you just stick into a pot. Okay, so let's pick a leaf and do the cutting. Okay, so I can see here a leaf that it's out of sight. It's already kind of not like in perfect shape, and I'm kind of doing a favor to this plant if I cut it away and use it as a cutting. So yeah, so I'm going to use this cut. I'm going to take a cutting of here. We'll probably do a cutting somewhere here. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so I think this is the best one to take. Okay, let's go for it. So I've taken the cutting and now it's time to stick it into the pot. Okay, so I have here the pot, and this pot is already, I've already put the soil in it. Okay, in regards to the soil, you probably want something which is easy to drain, maybe a cactus mixed type of soil will be good. Well, in fact, I think everyone recommends to have a soil like the ones that you would use for a cactus, because they will drain quite quickly. The water will not stick around for too long. But from my own experience, right, I don't have to worry about the soil for snake plant, because as long as you don't water it too much and let the soil dry each time, it will be okay. Anyway, this soil is already wet, so I don't need to add any water after I take this cutting. I have here the soil in a pot. I've already added some water to it, so it's humid, as you can see. I took a plant out. Anyway, it doesn't matter so much. Anyway, many people recommend to have a soil that you would use for a succulent, or a cactus. I would say I don't think you have to worry too much about it. Keep it simple and just pick some good potting soil that you have, and as long as you don't water it too much, the Sansevieria, your snake plant, will be fine. They are quite tough plants, and it's actually it's quite hard to kill one by negligence, at least. So, key point. So something that everyone also says that you need to do, and I disagree, is that you need to, after you take the cutting, I'm going to divide this, by the way. After you take the cutting, you should let it dry for like 2 or 3 days. I say I disagree because I've done it without doing that. I had no issues. Maybe it's true for a true succulent, but a snake plant is not a true succulent, so it doesn't really follow the same rules as a true succulent would. Yeah, so no worries about that. So I can just now take the cutting and stick into soil. If I just put one here, it's going to root from here. This is not going to grow anymore. So basically this is going to be, when I root this part, the main branch that was taken from the other plant, will never grow. Okay, it will stay green, it will never grow. So the only growth that you'll see is from the bottom of the pot. It will take probably 6 to 8 months for a shoot to come out from this pot after I plant this. So you have to be patient. The only way you can figure out that the rooting has happened is maybe you, let's say, you you can basically try and pull it a little bit lightly, and if you feel that there's some resistance, you know it has rooted. Other than that, you don't have to worry. Okay, so I'm going to use a scissor now. So I'm going to use a scissor and I'm going to cut this in 3. Yeah, so 1, probably like to use maybe this one, like this. Okay, it's important that you remember, you know, you keep the same direction, right? So this used to be pointing downwards when I took the cutting from the plant. When you plant it, you have to make sure it also points downwards. So if I was to swap like this wouldn't grow. Yeah, so you really have to be careful about that. You need to make sure you keep the same direction. So, and it will work fine. So to maximize also my chances, I'm going to try and I'll put it a little bit deeper, you know, so I have like maybe, so because it's going to root on the thing that is going to root is the part of the plant that's going under the soil. What's up doesn't really matter so much, but you need to have something sticking out because it will still need the energy. So the only way you know this is working is if you try one day, maybe you kind of try to pull it up and it doesn't go up anymore. But don't do that too often. It's better to do that one. So I have one cutting here and I'm going to have 2 more. So like this. Yeah. So same concept. Make sure you keep the same side that is facing downwards. It goes into the soil. So this bit goes into the soil, the other bit goes up. So I also want to make sure it's deep. And then the same thing here for this cutting. So I now have 3 cuttings. Okay, so I've made sure that the soil is already moist, not too much. All I have to do is basically put it somewhere, not like in the first month or 2 you don't need light. You can put it in a dark area, doesn't matter so much. You don't have to worry about sunshine. In fact, it shouldn't be in the sunshine. It should be in like a shaded area in your house. And in terms of watering, just water it when you see that this soil has gone completely dry. And don't water it too much, just do it lightly around, you know, just do a little bit of watering. It doesn't really need that much. And the way you know the plant is alive is also by how often the soil goes dry, because if the plant is dead, you'll add the water and it'll take a really long time to dry. But don't worry, this method works almost 100%, and so I don't think you should check, you shouldn't have to worry about check the roots or anything like that. Just leave it alone and it'll do its job. You just have to be patient because this takes time. So I've done the cutting. It's going to root. It's probably going to take a few months, and at some point I'll do an update on how well it's doing. I encourage you to also try and to propagate your snake plant if you have one, or buy maybe a cutting from the internet. On eBay you'll find quite a few people selling cuttings, and that's how you can get some more rare species of snake plant. And you should have nothing to worry about because it's one of the easiest plants to propagate. As you can see, this is my first propagation that I've done of that snake plant. It went really well and it's doing really well today, and I think it's going to grow even better. It's going to grow more shoots. In fact, I've actually given away. I had a couple of shoots here, and I give it away to someone else. I've given it away. Right, so I hope this video helps. If you like this video, right, please click the like button. And if you want to watch more videos like this, please click subscribe. I'll see you again soon. Happy planting!